What's up, family? Welcome back to the channel. It's your host, Realtalk Shouted. You're now tuned into another video. Thank you for coming back and joining the channel. In today's video, we're going to speak about your contribution. That's right, your contribution. And if your contribution is actually benefiting you. Let's get into it. So, your contribution. Let's look up the word contribution. Let's get a meaning for contribution. Contribution is, according to Google, a gift or payment to a common fund or collection. A gift or payment to a common fund or collection. Another meaning or definition of it is the part played by a person or thing in bringing about a result or helping something to advance. The part played by a person or thing in bringing about a result or helping something to advance. Now, the reason why I was having thoughts today about our contributions is because, I remember back when my grandmother was alive. Well, she's, still alive in another realm. But when she was here on this realm, and, we used to go to church, and she used to go to church every Sunday. I mean, like, of course, if she was in good health and if, weather was good and, everything had to be on point. But make a long story short, she was at church every Sunday, frequently, right? And so she used to pay her tithes. She was the type of person to where she would go to church and there would be a portion where of the service where they would ask people if you would like the church to pray for you. So everyone would stand up, or a particular person would stand up who is requesting prayer, and would tell the whole church their whole business, right? So she would be the person to stand up and tell everybody, what's going on in her life. And everybody just sitting back, and you would hear the and the ooh and the You know what I mean? And it's like she thought she was just doing the right thing. That's just what she believed in. She believed that, what she was doing based off of her contribution, her paying her tithes, her being a part of, the church service every Sunday. She even had her son, my uncle, be the church choir director. That's how much she went to church. Her son ended up being the choir director, which is my uncle. So it was just like, okay. And when I sit back and think about her life and how she actually, transcended from this realm to the next, I sit back and I have to ask myself, is, even myself, are the things that I'm contributing to any situation, is it benefiting me? That's what we must ultimately ask ourselves, because we shouldn't have to be put in situations where we are constantly contributing to something that is not beneficial to us, because ultimately we are responsible for our own lives. We come into this world alone and we leave out this world alone. So at the end of the day, it's nobody else's responsibility to look out for anybody else outside of themselves first, because you are your own responsibility. We are our own responsibility first. That's where filling your own cup until it overflows come into the works, because you can't help anybody else if you haven't already helped yourself first. And flashing back onto my grandmother, is like, well, were the things that she contributed, was that actually beneficial to her? Or was that just something that she felt like she had to do or felt like doing because it was just the right thing to do? However, not necessarily assessing it from a standpoint of, well, is this actually beneficial? Like, am I actually growing? Am I actually advancing? Am I actually, thriving? Am I in a better situation than I was, last year or a month ago? And you have to ultimately put yourself in a position where you're always advancing, you're always improving, you're always finding room for improvement, making room for improvement, challenging yourself to become a better person. And these things are essential in everyday life, because when you do not have this type of mentality, that is when you become stuck. That is when you become mentally and spiritually drained, because you are over exerting yourself from a physical standpoint. And it's like, in life, you have to be filled up in multiple areas of your life, not just strong physically, or not just strong mentally, or not just strong spiritually, but you have to be strong in all of those areas in order to ultimately have a fulfilled lifestyle. And these are the things that are not taught to us in most churches, in most schools, in most communities. It's all about, focusing on one thing. And it's always good to focus on one thing, but only focus on one thing at a time until you accomplish it, until you fulfill that particular subject, and then you move on to the next. You don't just stay stuck on that one thing. Or, like if you like going to the gym, you don't just say, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to go to the gym and, I'm going to be the biggest, toughest, most built guy in the gym. And that's all I know is, working out. Okay, well, you've mastered that ultimately. So because you've mastered that in that particular area in your life, why don't you move to something else and start studying something else, or just, become interested in something else, and don't leave from your passion um, for the gym. Don't leave, your first love. Don't leave that thing that gets you going, but continue to improve on that, as well as include other facets of life within your passion for the things that you're already involved in. And that is what's going to open you up to so much more. And I think ultimately always assessing the situation from a standpoint of, is this actually beneficial to me? Because you could be doing something your whole life that's that is only benefiting what you're contributing to, which ultimately is taking away fulfillment of life. And if that's something that you have done, well, today is the day after you watch this video. And if this video has been edifying to you, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share the video. Then you can stop and reassess the things that you're doing, and ultimately ask yourself, well, is this actually benefiting me? Whatever you're contributing at work, you know are you having to contribute more than other employees or partners or associates on the job, and receiving less, or are you in a relationship where you're the only one that is, pulling the weight and not receiving adequate gratitude? Or are you the one who, may not be pulling the weight in the relationship, but you're taking care of the kids, you're cleaning the house, you're, uh, taking care of everything else outside of that particular subject, and you're still feeling like you're unfulfilled, or you're feeling like you're not being treated adequately or equal? Then you have to reassess the things that you are contributing and ask yourself, if this is not benefiting me, what can I do to have more fulfillment out of this situation? What are the things that I could change so that whatever I'm contributing towards will ultimately be beneficial to me as well? And, don't look at it from a standpoint of, well, if it's not benefiting me at all, then I'm not going to contribute to it. Because some things, is everything in life is about a give and a take. So you have to create balance with everything that you do. So if you're in a situation where it's, semi working out for you, but there are things that need to be ironed out on this side, and there are things that need to be ironed out on that side, well, pick one thing, focus on that first, master that, and then transition to the next, and then focus on that, and then ultimately your situation can become the perfect scenario. But these are things that we have to ultimately continue to ask ourselves and to challenge ourselves by being more aware and becoming more involved in the decisions, the choices, the actions that we take towards the contributions that we make towards our situations. And ultimately, family, every contribution should be somewhat beneficial, because when you give out, you're ultimately supposed to receive as well. You're not just supposed to just continue to just give and give and give and you're not receiving. It's about ebbs and flows. It's about give and take. So with that being said, family, I would not like to make this video long. Thank you for coming back and joining the channel and tuning into the video. This has been your host, Real Talk Shawty. I'm going to get at y'all in our next video. Glory be to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Shalom.